Hey guys, Maniac here, and I'm here with some more Maniac reviews. And today for Maniac reviews, I'm gonna be reviewing Catching Fire. Now when I first heard of this movie, it reminded me of a good old time. A time where I too caught fire. As you can see as I take this match. I am catching the fire. It has been caught by my breath. I also just burnt my hand. Let's get on to that review. Alright, so Catching Fire. First things I want to mention about this movie. This movie is a book adaptation of the movie Hunger Games, of the series of books revolved around the Hunger Games being the first entitled thing, being the first book, and also the first movie. So this is a sequel, and yeah. So let's get into storyline. Storyline of this movie. Basically, after winning the 74th annual Hunger Games, Peeta and Katniss go on a 12 district tour. After that tour, after they get home back to their District 12, there is the 75th annual Hunger Games. Now there's a bit of a change because this is a third quarter Q, I believe is what it was called. They draw names from the last 25 Hunger Games or something like that, from the last Hunger Games. And those people who get voted in go into this year's Hunger Games. Pretty simple, I guess. So let's get started off, and then let's go off with characters. Katniss, Everdeen, being the main character. Peeta, something. I just remember as Peeta Griffin. We have Hutchinson, President Snow. Oh, what's his name? Hekutsaw, something like that. It's like it's a Hey something. President Snow, played by no one other than Donald Sutherland, Kiefer Sutherland's father. And my household, we are giant Kiefer Sutherland fans and Sutherland family friend. Yeah. Sinu, I believe is how you pronounce his name, and the weird crazy girl. She wasn't. I guess I'm not really gonna count her. Anyways, though. And I should probably mention Gale as well. I guess positives and negatives. I'm going to start off with positives on this movie. This movie is great now, I went to go see this with a friend who is a big fan of the books. And he said this movie is way better than the first Hunger Games. As a book adaptation, there's a lot more from the book than in the first Hunger Games, and yeah. So the other thing about this review is I have to look at it from three sides. I have to look at it from the side of a book lover, somebody who's read all the books and loves the books. I gotta look at the side from somebody who's either watched the first Hunger Games and is watching this as a sequel. I also have to look at it from the view of somebody who hasn't watched any of these movies and just wants to go see this movie. Kind of like a blind pick thing, if somebody wanted to ever do that. And when it comes to positives for the book side, great adaptation, no padding, that includes all three. Okay, actually I shouldn't say that. There was a lot of talking in the beginning. Way more than there probably needed to be, and I will say the exact same for the first Hunger Games, because I actually watched that last night before I saw this movie today, and there was a lot more in both of these movies, there's a lot more talking than there is anything else. It's a lot more drama and talking. So if that's kind of what you're into for the first about 45 minutes of each movie, 30 to 45 minutes of each movie, you're going to love this one. And I guess I'm going to go on to the side of somebody who's watched both The Hunger Games and is just going new to this. This is kind of going into the negative side now. You get thrown into this movie. If you did not watch the first if you didn't watch Hunger Games, you're a bit confused, but eventually you will catch on to what happened in the past. But if you watched Hunger Games and you're watching this movie, you'll get the beginning. Once it gets later on, you are so confused. I haven't read any of the books. That's the thing, is that I actually haven't read any of the books. I've just seen Hunger Games, the first movie. And this one, there's so much stuff that they did not explain at the end that I don't know whether they're going to explain it in Mockingjay or if it's just going to be like, alright, if you're a fan of the book, you know what's going on. But if you're not a fan of the book and you're just watching this movie, if you're a casual person going to go out to go see the movies who's not a fan of the books, you're going to be so confused by the end of the movie like I was. My friend had to basically explain to me the whole premise of the book so I could actually get what happened in this movie. There's so much stuff that they needed to explain in either the first movie or in this, that when Mockingjay comes around, they'll at least need 30 minutes to explain everything. Like, there was so much that was not explained that really needed to be explained, and I can't put an emphasis on that enough. Now, as a fan of the book, I'm just going to give my friend's rating because he was a fan of the book, and I'm just going to give this up now. He gave it a perfect 5 out of 5. If you're a fan of the book, you're really going to love this movie, and I could see there was a lot of other fans of the book and everything in the movie theater. I could see by just looking on their faces that they really enjoyed this movie, and I could, I overheard conversations here and there, not to be weird or anything, but I did. And so there are so it's obviously, the movie series is more targeted to the fans of the books. Now, there are some ups and downs with that. First, you're going to either, with a movie adaptation on a book, you always want to focus as much on the book as you can. Now, obviously, in movies, you can't do everything that is inside the book. That's why I'm happy that they split Hobbit up into 3, because 3 parts of the book, which is smart, so then they can get everything out. Now, let's go on to the side of a casual person, somebody who just likes movies like me, and, would go watch this. Like I said, I can't put an emphasis on how many parts you will be confused about, because you do not know what's going on, because they do not explain anything. There's a lot they do not explain, and there's like, I was at the end of the first Hunger Games, there's some parts where I was confused because they didn't explain a few things, but in this one there's just so much that they didn't explain that makes me scared for when Mockingjay comes out, because if they can't explain it, then somebody who's watched it is going to be so confused. And like, I honestly thought I saw some people walking out of the theater that they were so confused, and maybe that's just me, or maybe they had somewhere to go or something. I don't know. Maybe something happened. But the point is, they needed to explain so much more in this movie, or else it doesn't make any sense. I'm lucky enough that I went with my friend, and he was able to explain everything to me. So, but for the people who don't have that, or haven't read the books, you're going to be so confused. And I know if I'm just repeating myself, but that is the truth. So, for rating of a book lover, I'm going to have to give it's a 5 out of 5. It's perfect if you love the book. They put in everything. My friend basically just, he kept saying that, like, this is exactly as I imagined it when I was reading the book. There was nothing it did not disappoint compared to the book. Me watching the movie, There were parts I was laughing at because I was so confused. Other parts where it was just so stupid to me because they didn't explain the stuff for it to actually make sense. So, as a reviewer, somebody who hasn't read the book but has to look at it from all the 3 sides that I explained in the beginning, I'm going to be giving this movie a 4 out of 5. Sorry, 3.7 out of 5. The only reason why there's that big 1.3 gap is the majority of that, I would say the 1.2 of that is they didn't explain stuff. They needed to explain stuff. Part of me almost felt like that this was another Man of Steel and Wolverine thing where it's like, holy crap, there was a lot of hype for this, but this isn't really that good. So, but like I said, it comes down to there's a lot of stuff that needed to be explained that either they couldn't do or they're holding it for Mockingjay. But for now, I'm going to have to give it a 3.7. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, favorite, like. I'm just going to go out of frame here. Like, and all that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys next time on whatever I make. Haters gonna drag on. Peace out. Boopity boop boop.